Give him a chance to share what's going on in his life.
You see, I have no name tag. He was right. He said he would spare no expense for me to come here. Jack and I have a friendship based on mutual disrespect. I'm John, and I'm now a priest. Now let's go back to what I was. Over 21 years of being clean and sober, I was a drunk and a junkie. I was not the Boy Scout. I was the one that parents warned their children about. Will Rogers said he never met a man he didn't like. I never met a substance I wouldn't take. I drank and drugs for 22 years, hardcore. I was dead once for 2 minutes, and somehow they, a la Lazarus, resuscitated me. My elder brother was murdered over this. I lost a small fortune, a wife. I lost everything I owned. I was homeless. And the only reason I'm standing here, I'm convinced that my God said, I got to take one of these guys to help show other people that you can come back. I am a living, standing, biblical miracle. And I say that with no ego because I had nothing to do with it. Now, the Episcopal Church Recovery Ministries. It's been around since the 80s. It's struggled, it's gone down, it's come back up. The national diocese, or whatever you want to call the Episcopal Church, the national, used to fund the recovery ministries. It no longer does. But we have representation from almost every state. And the state of Arizona has never had a chapter of recovery ministries until now. About going on a year and a half ago, I approached Bishop Kirk Smith. He was kind enough to say, I know nothing about this, but I know you're right, we need it. And then Heather Cook happened. Most of you know. New elected bishop in Maryland, had a history of alcoholism. Got drunk in front of the powers that be in the Episcopal Church. No one had the guts, because you know Episcopalians were so polite, to say anything to her. And 2 days later she hit a bicyclist, young man with a wife and 2 kids, and killed him. She's now in prison. And I don't blame her. I pray for her. Because unfortunately in this country, we still believe this is a weak-willed, immoral act. It is not. It is a certified medical brain disease. And the thing you need to know about this brain disease is it works actively on telling you you don't have it. Episcopal Church again. We have an abysmal record with alcohol. Oh, the Whiskeypalians, when 2 or 3 gathered, we have a fifth. La, 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 la. We have done a disservice to those people out there struggling either in addiction or with recovery. And that's coming to an end thanks to what happened with Heather Cook. In many ways. But let's get back to the day-to-day work. What we are doing is connecting every single church, almost 60 in the state of Arizona. I go out, I put on a Saturday education. We find out what people really need to talk to somebody. We hopefully find somebody in each church, maybe 2 or 3 people, that they can go to talk about their problems, to get referrals, and we are going to connect every church in the Arizona Diocese together so that we will have a recovery church everywhere you go. We will begin having much more recovery weekends. We will hopefully morph into having retreats, because this is a part of society that we have not treated very well. And also, just so everyone in here knows how very democratic this disease is, 10%, probably closer to 15% of of the population has an addiction or substance abuse problem. So do the numbers right in here, and if you're not in recovery yet, I invite you in, and if you are, hallelujah, brother. But there's some sitting right in this room. Statistically, you can't beat it. Spiritually, there are no spiritual drunks and junkies. You cannot have a relationship with God if you are actively using in an addictive manner. It becomes the wall that separates you from God. Because, like I did, you lie, you cheat, you steal, you manipulate. Basically, people become something that you can either use or get them out of your way to get what you want. That is not Christ-like behavior. I don't like to come on like too much gangbusters, but unfortunately in this disease, as we've all heard about, denial, etc., there is no proper, polite, Episcopal way to mince around it and gently say, well, maybe. No. You know what you do with denial, the wall of denial? You shatter it with a sledgehammer. And it is our business to look around at the people we worship with, and if we see somebody in trouble, we need to help them. We need to help them. And we're going to build a strong relationship with everybody in this state, and other states are doing it to do that. Somebody mentioned Richard Rohr. One of the greatest quotes I've ever heard. And by the way, if you want to read a great book, read Breathing Underwater. He will take the 12 steps and show you the exact parallel with Jesus' teachings. His great line, and we're not talking just drugs and alcohol, we work on addiction of every form. But his great line is, you don't think you're addicted? Check out your own thinking. We all are addicted to something. And again, it will keep us away from an open relationship with our Creator. I'm actually a pretty fun guy. I'm normally not this. But that's how serious it is. And you know what? We're going to hear about prison ministries. 2/3 of all domestic violence is caused by alcohol or drugs. We're going to hear about Boy Scouts. People that smoke pot don't join the Boy Scouts. It goes around and around. It connects to everything. And we, right now, and then I will close, but right now we are in an epidemic again in this country. Another thing of note, all those years, wow, it's those urban areas, it's those people of color. Statistically, white people abuse more drugs than people of color. The other side, well, it's only in the poor Asians. No, it costs money to do drugs. Scottsdale is known for a lot of things. Having money for all kinds of drugs is one of them. I think the drugs might even pass the plastic surgery, I'm not sure. Okay? Guess what the fastest growing group of addicts is in the country? Senior citizens, pain medications. And guess what's happening to the really young? They're stealing their parents' pain medications and taking them. And heroin right now is so dirt cheap in this country. Wait till you hear this one, and especially for the people that live in Arizona. We now have senior citizens out on the street scoring heroin because either their doctors and pharmacists have cut them off the pain medications, or they can't afford them anymore because they're so expensive. We have people in Sun City out on the street scoring heroin. Did we ever see that one coming? So we're in a serious, serious epidemic, and it affects everything from church to business to family life. For every single addict or alcoholic, a minimum of 4 people around them are grossly affected in their life. Spread that out across the numbers. So it's serious. And we're going to do our dangest. And I ain't doing it because I'm any saint. I'm doing it because I'm one of them. I am one of them. And I am not ashamed of it. And I hope that my experience, I spent 10 years counseling also, I hope my experience, strength and hope as we say in the rooms, can help other people. Any quick questions or comments?